The year was 1929. The world was on the brink of the Great Depression, but inside the walls of the Topkapi Palace in Istanbul, a different kind of history was being unearthed. While converting the palace into a museum, director Halil Ethem Eldem found a bundle of gazelle-skin tucked away in a dusty corner. As he unrolled it, he didn't see a simple drawing. He saw a window into a world that shouldn't have existed in 1513. He saw the coastlines of the Americas, the curves of the Atlantic, and details so precise they defied the technology of the 16th century. This was the surviving fragment of the world map of Piri Reis. But who was the man behind the ink? And how did an Ottoman admiral who never crossed the Atlantic know more about the New World than the explorers who supposedly discovered it? Piri Reis, born Muhyiddin, Piri in Gallipoli was not just a soldier, he was a polymath of the ocean. Growing up under the tutelage of his uncle, the legendary corsair Kemal Reis, he spent his youth in the heat of naval battles and the quiet study of Mediterranean ports. By the time he sat down to draw his masterpiece in 1513, he was a seasoned veteran. He wasn't just guessing, he was compiling. In his own notes, written in Ottoman Turkish on the map itself, he makes a staggering claim. He used 20 different source maps to create this one. Think about that for a moment. In an era where maps were the most guarded state secrets, equivalent to modern nuclear codes, Piri Reis had access to a global intelligence network. He had charts from the Portuguese, maps from the era of Alexander the Great, and most importantly, a map used by Christopher Columbus himself. One of the greatest mysteries in history is the lost map of Columbus. We know Columbus made maps, but none survived, except perhaps within the work of Piri Reis. Piri Reis notes that he obtained a map from a Spanish prisoner who had sailed with Columbus 3 times. This makes the Piri Reis map the most authentic record of how Columbus viewed the Caribbean. When you look at the islands on the map, you aren't just looking at geography, you are looking at the first-hand perspective of the very first European explorers preserved by an Ottoman admiral. To the untrained eye, the Piri Reis map looks chaotic, filled with lines radiating from circles. These are not decorative, this is a Portolan chart. Unlike modern maps that use latitude and longitude, Portolan charts use rhomb lines. These lines radiate from compass roses, allowing sailors to calculate a bearing between 2 points. But here is where it gets technical. Piri Reis managed to transpose these lines across the vastness of the Atlantic Ocean. The accuracy of the longitudinal distances between Africa and South America is nearly perfect. In 1513, there was no mechanical clock to accurately measure longitude at sea. Yet the map stands as a testament to a mathematical precision that shouldn't have been possible for another 250 years. If you go down the rabbit hole of forbidden archaeology, you will eventually find Charles Hapgood. In the 1960s, Hapgood proposed a radical theory. The bottom portion of the Piri Reis map depicts the Queen Maud Land of Antarctica without ice. He claimed the map showed the subglacial topography of the continent, which has been covered in ice for thousands of years. This sparked a wave of ancient alien and lost civilization theories. However, mainstream science offers a more grounded explanation. During the 16th century, geographers believed in Terra Australis Incognita, a massive southern continent that had to exist to balance the weight of the Earth. Piri Reis likely followed the tradition of extending the South American coastline to reflect this theoretical landmass. The map is alive. Look closely at the interior of Africa and South America. You see parrots, strange dogs, and even mythical creatures like the blemmies, men with heads in their chests. These weren't just monsters. They represented the reports of exotic fauna and tribal lore reaching the Ottoman courts. The map features different types of vessels, from Portuguese caravels to Ottoman galleys, each meticulously drawn to show the naval technology of the day. Using natural dyes, ochre, indigo and cinnabar, the map has retained its vibrancy for over 500 years. Piri Reis eventually compiled his knowledge into the Kitabi Bahriye, the most detailed nautical guide of the Mediterranean ever written. His life ended tragically, executed in Cairo due to political intrigue. But his map lived on, tucked away in the shadows, waiting to be rediscovered by a modern world that is still trying to decode its secrets. The Piri Reis map is more than just sheepskin and ink. It is a bridge between the Middle Ages and the Age of Discovery. It proves that knowledge in the 16th century was more fluid and global than we often give it credit for. It is a reminder that history is never settled. Sometimes the greatest secrets are just waiting to be unrolled.